Devil may care. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, I think we are going to do something about it. So how much have you paid people to pull out customers who are in line with a bag that's 2 centimeters too big, Mr. Schroeder?
Well, we recognize this is a hard job, and so therefore we incentivize them to do that.
How much?
It's $10 per bag.
Wow, $10 per bag. And I think, Mr. Klein, you and Mr. Schroeder, your airlines cumulatively have spent $26 million paying gate agents between 2022 and 2023 to catch passengers whose bags are a little bit too big. $26 million. I mean, if people want to know why it's such a terrible experience to fly, this is news for them today. Your airlines are paying.
Senator Hassan, Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Can we just come back to this bounty issue, Mr. Schroeder, Mr. Klein? Because I have to say, I didn't understand your answers. I thought you said to the chairman earlier that you did say in your opening statement that there was a lot of misinformation about this out there, Mr. Schroeder, and I thought you said, Mr. Klein, that you don't charge bounties. So can we just clear this up once and for all? We're all here, we're all under oath. So, Mr. Schroeder, let's start with you. Do you charge a bounty? Do you pay employees bounties on carry-on bags to identify them?
Well,
That's a yes or no.
I wouldn't characterize it as a bounty.
Do you charge them, do you pay your employees a fee? Do you incentivize them to go pick out bags from people getting on planes and kick them off the flight? Just yes or no?
We charge them an incentive.
Okay, that's a yes. Mr. Klein?
We do not, Senator Hawley.
You don't pay your employees to do that?
We have previously, sir, but we actually suspended that on September 30th of this year. And now in order to be able to treat all of our guests fairly and equitably, we've actually just put more staff and supervisors out at the gate area. And they're the ones that are still making sure that everyone's treated fairly and equitably, which is the point behind these kinds of programs. But we have removed that program as of September 30th.
Oh, interesting. So let's come back to you, though, Mr. Schroeder. So how much have you paid your gate agents to enforce your carry-on bag policy, to pick people out of the line like the chairman's video show? I mean, you guys do appreciate that flying on your airlines is a disaster, don't you? I'm slightly amazed by the general attitude of all of you here. Flying on your airlines is horrible. It's a terrible experience. I mean, I say this as a father of 3 young children, but I can't tell you, nobody enjoys flying on your airlines. It's a disaster. You charge people fees that they know nothing about. You harass them to death. I'll never forget, Mr. Johnson, during COVID when an attendant on your airline threatened my wife because our then 5-year-old son, his mask had slipped. This is back when we all had to wear those ridiculous masks. His mask had slipped below his nose. This flight attendant came up to my wife and said, if she didn't keep that mask over his nose at all points on this 4-hour flight, she would personally see that my wife was banned from flying. This has happened over and over to families. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And your attitude here today seems to be, well, millions of dollars to your employees to harass people who've already paid. They're there in line because they've already paid. It's unbelievable. By the way, let me just ask you this while I have you here. Why is it that you charge different people different fees for carry-on bags? Why is that, Mr. Klein? Why isn't it just a flat fee? Why is it that I might get charged one fee, but my wife might get charged a different fee? Why is that?
So overall, our job is to generate the most revenue we can so we can be profitable as an airline. If we're not profitable, actually we have costs, and there's costs out there, and we have to make sure that we're above the cost line in order to make sure that we can run a profitable entity.
Yeah, I got it. No, I got it. I got it. And money's the answer. So last year, your carry-on bag fees ranged between $15 and $99. That's extraordinary. One person might pay $15, somebody else might pay $99. How do you determine it? Is it based on personal characteristics? You charge women more?
It's never based on personal characteristics.
You charge minors more?
We do not, sir.
What, just people who are suckers? I mean, how do you do it?
Well, there is a cost to carry any kind of bag.
Yeah, but why do you charge some people more? I understand the cost, and you made clear money's your bottom line. I get that, but why is it that you're charging some people what, triple, quadruple the amount?
Well, the length of the flight should matter in this as well. So
yeah, but that's not the data. The data shows is we're talking about the same people on the same flight might get charged radically different prices for a one carry-on bag. You do the same thing for check bags. Why is that?
Right. So just for the record, the $99 charge has been reduced to $79 as a
It's a lot
maximum.
better.
And what ends up happening here is we want to make sure that we can get the best price to the best people at the right time.
The best people? Who would they be?
Sorry, let me rephrase. The right price.
Are those the people who, what? I mean, no, explain it to me. I'm interested. Who are the best people?
Well, that was the misstatement, sir. What we're trying to do is get the right price at the right time. And what that also means is making sure that if someone's on a flight that's now filling up, and we have a lot of, as we talked about, unbundled pricing.
And they get screwed? So like if you have the misfortune of having to book your flight at the end because maybe something's been canceled, then you're going to get screwed? Is that what you're telling me? You're not one of the best people.
Are you referencing just fares
I'm just responding to your testimony. I'm listening to you, and you just said as a flight's filling up, you're going to get charged more.
Not always. Sometimes you'll get charged less.
Exactly. Right. Sometimes. Right. But you'll never know, right? That's the beauty of it. It's like Russian roulette. Flying on the airline is.
I would disagree.
As the cameras stop rolling and the senators lean back in their chairs, the echo of Senator Josh Hawley's voice still hangs in the chamber, sharp, relentless, and unyielding. $10 per bag, he said, staring down the executives who squirmed under the weight of their own admissions. In that moment, the hearing transformed from a sterile policy discussion into something raw, almost moral, a confrontation between power and the people it's supposed to serve. This was more than a clash over baggage fees. It was a glimpse into a system that has quietly shifted the burden of its own inefficiencies onto the backs of ordinary Americans. Travelers who pay more, wait longer, and get less, while corporate executives hide behind euphemisms like dynamic pricing and market efficiency. What Hawley exposed, in his pointed repetition of why, was not merely greed. It was the architecture of modern capitalism laid bare. A system that rewards the algorithm more than the individual, that prizes optimization over dignity. Across the dais, the airline executives sat motionless, their smiles tight, their words carefully measured. "We don't call it a bounty," one of them said, but the truth had already slipped through. A $10 bounty, that was the price on a passenger's inconvenience, the cost of humiliation outsourced to frontline employees. What they described as incentives, Hawley called by its real name, a system designed to profit from policing its own customers. It was a small revelation, but it told a larger story. When corporations begin to monetize every gesture, every inch, every human moment, when a bag slightly too large becomes a source of profit, then something essential in civic life begins to corrode. These hearings are supposed to be about accountability, but beneath the formalities and the prepared statements lies a deeper question. What happens to justice when the pursuit of fairness is outbid by the pursuit of profit? As the senator spoke, his frustration wasn't just rhetorical. It was human. You could hear it in his voice as he recounted the story of his wife and child, a memory that turned the abstract into the personal. This wasn't about numbers. It was about people, families singled out, passengers threatened, dignity diminished in the name of policy enforcement. That image, a 5-year-old child, a frightened mother, a rule enforced without mercy, captured what data could not: the moral bankruptcy of a system that has forgotten the people it's meant to serve. For every bureaucratic answer, there was a human consequence. When the executives spoke of equity and efficiency, what they meant was compliance, a carefully engineered obedience that leaves no space for outrage, only resignation. But hearings like this remind us that resignation is not inevitable, that somewhere between the scripted responses and the senator's disbelief, democracy still breathes. The numbers told their own story. $26 million paid to gate agents, not to improve safety or service, but to hunt down customers with bags 2 centimeters too big. In that figure lies the moral calculus of corporate America. It is not the value of the traveler that determines worth. It is the volume of the fee. The human being in this system is merely another metric. When Hawley pressed them on variable fees, when he asked why one person pays $15 while another pays $99 for the same carry-on, the truth came wrapped in the language of business. Our job is to generate as much revenue as we can. It was said plainly, almost proudly. In that single admission, the hearing found its meaning. The goal is not service, the goal is extraction. The passenger is not a customer. The passenger is a resource. The senator's voice rose again. So you charge some people more. Based on what? The executives stumbled, their words collapsing under their own evasions. "We charge the right price to the right people," one said, before hastily correcting himself. "The right price at the right time." But the phrase had already hung in the air long enough to be heard for what it was. A Freudian confession of how corporations now divide and categorize citizens not by need or fairness, but by data profiles, algorithms, and profit probability. In that sterile committee room, the mechanics of digital discrimination were laid bare. And when Hawley turned to the subject of personal information, gender, age, geography, required before seeing the price of a seat, the exchange descended into absurdity. "Why," he asked, "do you need a person's gender to show them a price?" The answer came, trembling under its own weight. "That's just part of the transaction." But everyone watching knew it wasn't. The algorithm doesn't need your gender. The market does. Because every piece of personal data is another lever in the machinery of manipulation. Another way to turn human identity into economic opportunity. This hearing wasn't about one senator's anger. It was about the collision between technology and morality, between the free market and the free citizen. It was a reminder that when everything becomes a transaction, humanity itself becomes negotiable. In that wood-paneled room, lit by fluorescent lights and broadcast to millions, the question wasn't just whether airlines were being unfair. It was whether America's institutions still remember who they serve. The executive's language, polished, careful, unfeeling, echoed the vocabulary of an era where justice is secondary to efficiency and truth is filtered through PR teams. But Hawley's interrogation pierced through that fog with something older, something elemental, moral outrage. Because in the end, this hearing wasn't just about baggage fees. It was about the weight of something far heavier. The slow, silent erosion of public trust. When the people see powerful men sit under oath and dodge simple questions, they see not leadership, but impunity. They see the same hierarchy that governs too many corners of American life. One where corporations make the rules, citizens bear the costs, and government too often plays referee instead of protector. And yet amid the cynicism, there was clarity. The hearing stripped away the euphemisms. It showed plainly that injustice doesn't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes it comes in the form of a $10 bounty, a $99 carry-on fee, an algorithm calculating your worth. Sometimes the injustice is polite, efficient, optimized, invisible, until someone names it. As the gavel struck and the hearing adjourned, the sound carried a strange resonance. Not closure, but warning. A reminder that accountability is not a one-day spectacle. It is a constant struggle against the forces that profit from forgetting. This is the story of power and its price, of the people who fly and the few who make them pay to do so, of the distance between public service and corporate loyalty, a distance measured not in miles, but in courage. And so, as the senators file out and the lights dim on Capitol Hill, the question lingers: who will hold the powerful to account when the cameras are gone? This is the Capitol Watch. Stay informed, stay vigilant, subscribe, and help us keep watch over the halls of power.